To be honest, I've been quite bored of WWE's ridiculous storylines for a while now. This is the reason why I had stopped watching Raw and SmackDown for almost a month now. But this was something fabulous, and I really need to talk about this. So hello and welcome to Undervisey, my name is Soham and today we're going to talk about Night of Champions and why I think it is probably one of the best pay-per-views in the recent history of WWE. Now the thing is that when WWE does deliver, they deliver it in an awesome manner. But when they're doing something ridiculous, they just take it to a higher notch to the point where it's not even watchable or bearable. But this was really well executed. The matches were great, everything was great, and the storyline was superb. Now what happened here is that for the last 1 month or so, I was just not keeping up with Raw and SmackDown that much. Yeah, like I knew the results, I knew what matches were going on, I just checked up the wiki and everything to make sure what matches and what storylines were going on, but I was just not invested in the entire thing enough to actually watch the matches put forth by the performers. I don't know, I might have a WWE fatigue after watching it for so long now, but this match, or rather this pay-per-view, actually compelled me to go and watch WWE once again, and I'm so glad that I did it, and that is the reason why I'm making this video, because I was so happy with this pay-per-view that I thought, okay, let me give fair share of credit to WWE where it deserves. So what matches took place here? Well, we had some unfortunate stuff as well, like okay, in the beginning let me say that we had certain unfortunate stuff. Like I was really looking forward to the match between Bayley and Nikki Cross, but it just didn't happen for some reason. I guess it's something related to the COVID and other stuff. I don't exactly remember or know what happened here. And also the women's tag team match didn't happen. But other than that, the stuff were really fabulous. Okay, to conclude the last part, I also was not a big fan of the US Championship match that took place between Bobby Lashley and Cedric Alexander. So it was alright, it was not bad. But in the grand scheme of things, as in the pay-per-view as a whole, this was not up to that mark, at least in my opinion. But to start things off, we had the fabulous ladder match between AJ Styles, Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy. 3 incredible performers, and I loved this match to the extreme core. The action was superb, the chemistry between the trio was amazing. Jeff Hardy is an amazing guy, you all know that, we all know that. AJ Styles is amazing and Sami Zayn deserves everything. I don't exactly understand WWE fans nowadays. I mean, on one hand they were always complaining that Sami is not getting this, Sami is not getting that, and that's a fair problem. Sami deserves a lot of credit for the stuff he does. But now that he won this match, I saw a lot of negativity about him on Twitter, that he didn't deserve to win this. I mean, are you guys for even real? Like, he definitely deserved this. And the shenanigans involved here were superb to watch as a fan. What else do you need? I mean, genuinely, what else do you need in something like this? Moving forward, we had the match between Asuka and Zelina Vega. It was a decent match. It was not something extraordinary, but it was a decent match. I liked the offense of Asuka, and in the end, she obviously won. And that's that. That's pretty much it. I didn't like the stuff which happened later on with Asuka and how she faced Bayley, because we all knew what was the result, what was the eventual result of that stuff which was going to happen. Like, literally everyone knew that eventually Sasha Banks will attack Bayley. So that was quite predictable, but here it was fine. And I always love to see Asuka getting more credit because she deserves everything. She literally deserves everything. Moving forward, we had the tag titles match between the Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza. This was a great match, a high-flying maneuvering match. I mean, yeah, the parties involved here were extremely talented and I guess they were given a lot of freedom to act here. I don't exactly understand what's happening behind the scenes here, but overall the quality of this match was top-notch. And obviously because of the controversial ending, this particular storyline is going to be continued later on as well. So that's nice, that's pretty nice. Then we had the stuff with Bayley and it's fine. I just told you all that it's fine. It's not something extraordinary, it's just fine. One thing which I kind of got disappointed was the lack of Alexa Bliss that much. I genuinely thought that the storyline between Alexa Bliss was going to be involved somehow. I mean, yeah, granted, I have not been keeping up with WWE for a while now, so I have kind of missed how exactly Alexa Bliss was involved in all of this along with The Fiend and everything, so my bad there. I need to go back and watch some of the Raw and SmackDown stuff. But moving forward, we had the match Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, and oh my goodness, this was fabulous. Yeah, sure, the Roman Reigns match was fabulous, but I still feel that this match, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, should have been the main event of this show. The storyline working here of Randy Orton, the legend killer, being dominated by the sins that he has committed in the past, this was simply fabulous. Yeah, granted, this match made Drew McIntyre look a little less intimidating, but in the grand scheme of things, this was simply fabulous. I really enjoyed the distractions and the interferences that were caused by previous legends like Big Show, Christian, Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, and in the end the most hilarious bit in the form of Ric Flair. That shit was simply amazing. I mean, I was genuinely not expecting to see Ric Flair in the driver's seat of that ambulance. So this ambulance match ticked all the boxes of awesomeness in my opinion. And in the end, the tribal chief stuff. This was simply magnificent. I still believe that this match should not have been the main event of the show, but nonetheless it was amazing. And I mean, let's be real, everything that Paul Heyman touches is simply gold, nothing less than gold. This match, this storyline and everything surrounding it was so damn good. Roman Reigns simply dominated Jey Uso. This was not even a match. I mean, yeah, Jey Uso got some offense. It's not as one-sided dominating like say something like Brock Lesnar versus John Cena from the 2014 SummerSlam match, but still, heel Roman simply destroyed Jey Uso. I really loved the shenanigans that were on play here and how it all tied back to the family dynamic, and even in the end Jimmy Uso coming in and throwing the towel. And I really like the fact that Roman was not keen on making him 1, 2, 3 tap, like he was keen on destroying him to the core. He wanted to make Jey Uso understand that he was the tribal chief, he was the one who is dominating all of this, he's the one who is the head of the clan and everything. So this was simply alpha stuff, this was nothing less than that. And I really like the smaller details and everything that were in this match. This was fabulous stuff, this was simply fabulous stuff. WWE genuinely deserves credit for this particular match and this particular storyline in general. I mean, heel Roman is simply fabulous, and seeing all of this just reminded me, what if we got a heel John Cena in his prime? How epic and how amazing that would have been. It's a golden missed opportunity, not gonna lie, but still what we have here is amazing, and heel Roman really works well with everything. He has the body, he has the looks, he has everything that just oozes the heel persona, and people are genuinely hating him, and that's the mark of a good heel. This is not some babyface shit, this is a genuine heel stuff. And this has also paved roads for one of the most interesting things that are about to happen in the future of WWE. If everything goes well, then we can very well expect to see a match between heel Roman Reigns and face Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That is going to be fabulous. Tribal Chief Roman versus Babyface Rock? I mean, it's just set up, it's totally set up. The foundation has been laid out like anything. And let's just hope that booking conflicts don't occur and there are no major injuries, and then next year we can very well hope to see a match of that caliber. I am super happy with this pay-per-view, and it really reminded me of my childhood days when I used to enjoy WWE to the fullest extent. This definitely was the best pay-per-view in the recent history, if not the entire 2020 as a whole. I genuinely loved it a lot, and I would request all WWE fans to go and watch this show and just give WWE some credit for putting up such a great show. Thank you so much, WWE. I've been really critical of you all for a really long time now, but thank you for delivering in such a good manner. So those were my quick thoughts and opinions. So what do you guys think about this? Please mention your thoughts in the comment section below. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. This is Wonderboy Z, and I'll see you soon in the next video.